Okay, excellent. I'd like to bring the Town of Cohasset Board of Public Health meeting to order, January 3rd, 2024, 6 p.m. This is according to the Mass State law. It is a virtual meeting using the Zoom platform. Members of the public may join the meeting using the Zoom meeting URL on the website and using PC, Mac, iPad, iPhone, Android, and numerous other devices. As always in virtual meetings, all votes will be a roll call vote. As for those present, Marcia Lewis.
Here.
Elizabeth Kirkpatrick.
Here.
Paul Schubert here. Meeting is in open session now. So we have on the agenda two separate septic upgrade technology plans. The first one is 26 Hammond Avenue septic upgrade with IA Technology, the Geomat leaching system with Grady Consulting. And I'll turn it over to Pam with one quick thing. It looks like this is going to be a standard type of upgrade for septic systems. So I'm wondering if we can send a kind of note to the planning board just to let them know that these are starting to be relatively common for upgrading septic systems. I haven't not been doing this that long, but it looks like the last couple of meetings we started to see more of these.
Sure, I can let them know.
Great.
Okay, so we have Dylan Brady representing Grady Consulting, and I'm going to share my screen with the plan from, is it 26 Hammond? I'm sorry, I forget. I think it's 26.
Yep, 26 Hammond.
Oops, sorry, it's kind of froze up here for a sec. Let me try that again. Share my screen. There we go. There we go. Everybody can see my screen, okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dylan Brady with Grady Consulting, here representing Leanne Haggerty for the septic repair at 26 Hammond Avenue. The existing system is in the back of the lot there. It's an existing cesspool that's deteriorating. So we're proposing to pump and remove that existing cesspool to install a 1,500 gallon septic tank that goes to a 1,500 gallon pump chamber, both monolithic and anti-flotation, as the water table here is very high. And we're pumping that up to a Geomat system, 39. We're going to have 4 rows of 20-foot long, 25-foot long, 3,900. There's a little bit of proposed tree clearing, but very minimal, and a little bit of grading. And I just want to address some comments that we had just leading up to this. We added the water line onto the plan, the existing water line. We added the inlet and outlet tees on the septic tank detail. And for the local upgrade approval requests for the J section, we just added that the separation distance is going to be about 0.16 feet, just with the high water table. That's the separation from the inlet tee to high groundwater. And with that, any additional questions that the board may have, I'm happy to answer them.
So I just have one quick question. The previous cesspool, is that where the tank will go?
Yes, so we're coming from the existing building out. We're connecting to it. As you can see, the proposed, we're kind of coming off of it, but we're going to pump and remove the cesspool. But we are keeping the same building out pipe and tying to it in the back
so
there.
Will the current cesspool then be filled in?
Yeah, so we're going to pump and completely remove the cesspool because it's going to be in the way of the
Okay, yeah. I mean,
proposed
there was one, there was an empty cesspool down on, I think it was on Sawyer and Ripley Road, where someone fell into it that was probably 100 years old, that there was an open old cesspool that it wasn't filled, but it was empty, that someone had fallen into. I just want to make sure that that doesn't pose a hazard down the road.
Yeah, the existing cesspool should be pumped and completely removed, and then obviously filled back in with soil.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any other comments from the board? Okay, then I guess at this point, I'd ask for proposed motions. There's going to be probably, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, and it's going to be the upgrade, the approval, the variance, and the septic repair plan. So you have a list that I think everyone has. I'd ask for the first motion for a local upgrade approval under 310 CMR 15.405I to allow a sieve analysis in lieu of a percolation test. Is there a motion?
Yes, I'll make a motion for local upgrade approval under 310 CMR 15.405I to allow a sieve analysis in lieu of a percolation test.
Okay. Is there a second?
I second.
And roll call vote. Marcia
Marcia Lewis, aye.
and Elizabeth
Elizabeth Kirkpatrick, aye.
and Paul Schubert, aye. And the motion passes unanimously. The next one up is I'd ask for a motion for local upgrade approval under 310 CMR 15.405J to allow a reduction of the requirement of the 12-inch separation between inlet and outlet keys and high groundwater. Is there a motion?
Yes, I'll make a motion for local upgrade approval under 310 CMR 15.405J to allow a reduction of the requirement of a 12-inch separation between the inlet and the outlet tees and high groundwater.
Excellent. Is there a second?
I second.
And roll call vote. Marcia,
Marcia Lewis, aye.
Elizabeth,
Elizabeth Kirkpatrick, aye.
and Paul Schubert, aye. The motion passes unanimously. The next one up is a motion for the local variance request. Is there a motion for that?
Yes, I'll make a motion for a local Cohasset variance request under 15.23112 to allow the use of a distribution box where all systems requiring pumping shall be pressure dosed.
And is there a second?
I second.
And I'll ask for a roll call vote in favor. Marcia
Marcia Lewis, aye.
and Elizabeth
Elizabeth Kirkpatrick, aye.
and Paul Schubert, aye. And that motion passes unanimously. The final is a motion to approve the septic repair plan for 26 Hammond Avenue dated 1/3/23. Is there a motion?
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve the septic repair plan for 26 Hammond Avenue dated 1/3/23. Should not be 24.
You're right,
Yes.
24.
Yes, sorry about that.
Shall I repeat
And
the
is,
motion?
so the 24, yeah. Is there a second?
I second.
And roll call vote for the motion. Marcia,
Marcia Lewis, aye.
Elizabeth,
Elizabeth Kirkpatrick, aye.
and Paul Schubert, aye. And the motion passes unanimously. Thank you for the attendance and the input. Next up is the 61 Fair Oaks Lane. This is a single family home. I guess it has a failed septic system. And it sounds like they've looked at options and there really are not a lot of options due to the way the siting of the property is. So I'll leave this, turn this over to Pam.
Yes, it's true. And it's a very similar system to the last one. It's the same technology. So we have Terry McSweeney, and he is the design engineer. He'll walk you through it, and I will share my screen again. Hang on, let me just share. It's a little small here. It's again, Terry can explain, it's kind of a challenging site.
That's to put it mildly, Pam.
Yeah.
It's an extremely challenging site due to both the topography that we're dealing with and the fact that we have extensive fill materials, unsuitable fill materials on the majority of the property. Again, my name is Terry McSweeney. I'm with the registered sanitarian with McSweeney Associates here, representing the owner of the property to present the plan for a 4-bedroom Title V upgrade for the property at 61 Fair Oaks Lane. Much like the last property, this one we are proposing to use a geomat system, primarily because the geomat offers a reduction in the foundation to SAS separation from 20 feet down to 5 feet. Our proposal is requires this, or our proposal is for a 7-foot offset from the foundation to the soil absorption system, which is allowable under the remedial use permit for the geomat system. So by using the geomat, we're actually able to eliminate one of the variances that we might have needed with a traditional field. We're proposing to use a 2,000-gallon 2-compartment tank. It's a 1-tank pump system. The second chamber into the second chamber goes an Orenco fiberglass. It's called a biotube pump vault system. It comes pre-fitted with a rather extensive filtration mechanism. So we're basically discharging extremely clean water from the tank into the field. We are then discharging into an 803 square foot C33 sand bed containing 195 linear feet of the geomat leaching system 3900 system. We get a number of design considerations. Primarily, the one that we're relying on here is that foundation to SAS setback reduction. We do need. So we need one local upgrade approval, 310 CMR 15405-1I, to allow the use of a sieve analysis in place of a percolation test. That's due to the fact that the naturally occurring mineral soils started at an 88-inch depth below the surface, so it was obviously not safe to go down to that depth to do the testing in the soil. So we took a sample of the soil, sent it into the lab for a sieve analysis, and we're asking for that local upgrade approval. I apologize. I did not ask on this plan. I did not ask for the local for a variance from the local requirement for to allow the use of a pump to a gravity distribution system. That just became apparent to me on participating in or listening to the last discussion. So we're proposing to discharge from the pump tank to a distribution box for a gravity flow. Again, I did not ask for that specific local variance on the plan. I can certainly give you revised plans reflecting that additional variance. That's kind of the system in a nutshell. I'd be happy to answer any other specific questions you may have about it.
Any questions from the board?
Certain. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to ask about the pavers in front of the house. Will they be removed for the installation?
Yes. All right. So as I said before, so one of the main limitations with a geomat system is that we can only bear them up to a total of 2 feet below surface grade. A standard field can go up to 3 feet without a variance, but the geomat relies on atmospheric oxygen transfer into that C33 sand. So we can only bury them the geomat system a maximum of 2 feet. The front portion of the yard really is the only relatively flat area where we could install the system, meeting that grading requirement. The property owners are planning a pretty extensive landscaping rearrangement in the front yard anyway. So we're taking advantage of the fact that it's all going to be uprooted and changed topographically, and the planting wise in the front yard. I don't believe that the landscaping plans have been finalized at this point. The issue, again, the system relies on atmospheric oxygen transfer into the C33 sand. It's actually, the GeoMat system is considered an alternative soil absorption system with treatment by Mass DEP remedial use permit. The treatment is really just BOD reduction, but that requires an exchange with atmospheric oxygen. You're not allowed to put these things under a paved surface because that would interfere with the atmospheric oxygen transfer. But we're not talking about, even under the current configuration, there is no solid paver system. It's a brick walk. So I don't believe that would interfere with the supply of oxygen to the subsurface. But again, there's a rather extensive landscaping change being proposed to the front of the house where this system is going, and I don't believe that the new landscaping plans have been completed yet. So I can't answer that question right now. But again, I don't see that it's the biggest issue with a paved surface would be, limiting the amount of oxygen that can get into the subsurface. But I don't see that as a real limiting factor under a brick walkway.
Okay. So there's no regulations for a GeoMat system requiring to keep it a landscaped piece of property.
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some of them around town, you'll see in the backyard, there's almost like there's a hill that's built up. Yeah, and it looks awkward until they put in landscaping and put shrubbery or other things that will kind of hide it. But it does look a little bit odd. So that may be why they're looking at landscaping it.
Yeah, well, actually, this is not a hill. It's a depression. So it's actually the land slopes down from the street to the front of the house. What we're proposing to do actually is regrade the area in front of the house where the soil absorption system is going to be located, just to flatten it out so that we can meet that 1 foot to 2 foot burial requirement. So there will be no mound here.
Okay, so that may actually look better than some of the places in town.
I hope so. We try to keep the aesthetics in mind when we do the design. It's not always possible, but we do try to keep that in mind as well.
I think though, in general, it is good not to put stuff on top of there and not have like roots or anything else that could interfere with it. But
Agreed. No deep roots.
yeah.
Any other comments from the board? So the gravity flow plan, you wish for a motion to approve the pumped gravity flow plan?
So,
I'm
I'm sorry, Terry. Let me just help these guys a little bit.
Sure.
So on the last one that we just did for the 26 Hammond, the third motion that was like the local Cohasset variance, this one needs that same one.
Right.
Okay, so you'd be looking for the motion for under 15.231.12 to allow for the use of distribution box for all systems requiring pumping shall be pressure dosed. Is that it?
Correct.
Okay. Is the board in agreement with that as a reasonable motion?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I'd ask for then three motions. The first one, I'd ask for a motion for local Cohasset variance request under 15.231.12 to allow for the use of a distribution box where all systems requiring pumping shall be pressure dosed. Is there a motion?
Yes, I'll make a motion for local Cohasset variance request under 15.231.12 to allow the use of a distribution box where all systems requiring pumping shall be pressure dosed.
And is there a second?
A second.
And a roll call vote. I'll start with Elizabeth first. Elizabeth?
Elizabeth Kirkpatrick, aye.
Marcia?
Marcia Lewis, aye.
And Paul Schubert, aye. So that motion passes unanimously. The other two motion, I'd ask for a motion for local upgrade approval under 310 CMR 15.405I to allow for a sieve analysis in lieu of a percolation test. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion for local upgrade approval under 310 CMR 15.405I to allow a sieve analysis in lieu of a percolation test.
Is there a second?
I second.
And roll call vote. Elizabeth Kirkpatrick,
Elizabeth Kirkpatrick, aye.
Marcia Lewis,
Marcia Lewis, aye.
and Paul Schubert, aye. That motion passes unanimously. And the final motion for 61 Fair Oaks is a motion for approval of the proposed septic system plan for 61 Fair Oaks dated 11/16/23, revised 1/3/2024. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the proposed septic system plan for 61 Fair Oaks Lane dated 11/16/23, revised 1/3/2024.
And is there a second?
I second.
And roll call vote. Elizabeth Kirkpatrick,
Elizabeth Kirkpatrick, aye.
Marcia Lewis,
Marcia Lewis, aye.
and Paul Schubert, aye. And it passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. Pam, I don't mean to interrupt, but Pam, do you want revised plans reflecting that additional variance, or just, can I send you an email?
No, it'd be good to have the revised plan. I'm sorry about
Okay,
that.
no problem. I'll get them to you hopefully tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you're on mute, Dr. Schubert.
Here we go. So now, next is approval of minutes of December 5, 2023 of the Town of Cohasset Board of Public Health. Is there discussion? And then I'd ask for a motion for approval of the minutes of December 5, 2023.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from December 5th, 2023.
Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor, a roll call vote. Marcia
Marcia Lewis, aye.
and Elizabeth
Elizabeth Kirkpatrick, aye.
and Paul Schubert, aye. And that motion passes unanimously. Next up is the next meeting date. I know this is a Wednesday. Are Tuesdays typically better?
Either works for me.
Either.
I don't have my call schedule, so at this point, it doesn't matter to me either. Pam, is there any night better?
It doesn't matter to me either.
Okay. Let me go to the big board here then.
That'd be Tuesday, the 6th, it looks like.
Tuesday the 6th, would that work?
Yep,
Okay. So then Tuesday the 6th at 6 p.m. Would that work?
yes.
Okay, good. And next up is the Public Health Director report.
So Amy and I have just been all in on trying to get all the food establishments permitted for 2024. We started off with a list of 56 full-time year-round food establishments. And we've got everybody permitted except for 6 at this point. And of the 6, 4 of them have spoken to either me or Amy in the last day or two when they've promised to come in, before the end of the week. I believe them. That'll wrap it up. And then we'll be down to 2. Then we'll just have Cohasset Lobster Pound, which might be challenging because who knows when they're open. I'll just keep swinging by and try to get them. And then the other one is the sushi place. It's an independent company that works out of Stop and Shop. And they're not local, they're based out of North Carolina. And I've called them. I called them again today. And I don't know, I'll just keep trying. And hopefully they'll have them wrapped up by next week too. So we're almost done. We're getting really, really close. And then in the meantime, we've also been doing other people like septic haulers and septic installers and all kinds of other stuff, but it's really the food that, is the day-to-day that we really have to have done. So that's been our focus.
Excellent. And when is the deadline for that? Does it have to be done by the end of the month?
Well, it was supposed to be the December 31st, but this is our kind of our grace week, and we're almost done.
Excellent. And next up is the public health nurse report.
Hey, everybody. So I don't have a whole lot to report tonight. I took a couple of weeks off in December. My daughter got married, so we were a little sidetracked by that, but we're back at it. So yeah, I just wanted to give you an update on Sunrise. I think you saw in my report that they had 8 residents and 4 staff with COVID. But they have since been able to pretty much contain that. And so the numbers are back down to 0 right now. So that's a good thing. And other than that, we are getting COVID cases. They're creeping up slowly, but I think as to be expected, Paul, I don't know what you're seeing in the hospital, but after the holidays and people gather, I think we can expect that. So basically that's all I have.
Yeah, so we've seen a kind of a steady but slow rise on COVID cases. I think this morning it was 27, or maybe it might have been 30. There are 3 of them that were pending. That's been about what it's been, or a little bit less over the last 6 weeks. But yeah, after New Year's and Christmas, we typically see an uptick. We're also seeing some influenza A, as well as RSV. There's a fair number of adult RSV, which we hadn't seen last year, I think because most people were still not totally 100%, entertaining and traveling and things like that. It's still not too late to get vaccinated for all of the flu, the RSV, and the new updated COVID booster. That's all.
Great, thank you.
And is there any comments from the board about things that they want to have on the agenda in the future, or any other informational or concerns? Nope. So I don't have any topics that are not reasonably anticipated in 24 hours prior to the meeting. I think probably see you next month then. All right. So Happy New Year, and I ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I second.
Is that
I-
anyone?
I second.
Okay. I heard somebody in the background. I wasn't sure since are they okay? I'd ask for a roll call vote. Elizabeth
Elizabeth Kirkpatrick, aye.
and Marcia
Marcia Lewis, aye.
and Paul Schubert, aye. Meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everyone, and have a Happy New Year.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Bye.
Happy New Year.